Yo, guys, I want to welcome you to today's Jujitsu Bros Podcast. It's your boy Damian with White Belt Goons. Today we are here with Giovanni. He is a blue belt out of Black Dog Jiu Jitsu in Lake Oswego. Brohim, how are you today?
Dude, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm on a hot streak right now with competitions that I'm just not sustainable. I'm sure my next one next week's gonna go different, but I'm feeling pretty good.
Man, I really want to appreciate you for taking the time out to come on the podcast and talk to me. So just to give you a quick heads up about what I'm doing here, I'm fairly new to the game. I'm approaching my 2-year mark. I'm 48, a little bit older to be starting this sport. I absolutely love it. And I think like a lot of guys at my age, we're trying to find our own footing here. I'm not going to be a trailblazer. I'm not going to be competing at 80cc anytime soon. But I really like the sport. There's a lot of great things, a lot of great benefits that I'm getting out of it. And so I really like to talk to people who are further along in their journey to kind of just get some of those breadcrumbs to help lead me down the path and be more successful with what I'm doing. So I noticed your video and you had a post on Instagram that said that you had competed in over 100 competitions. So just kind of give everybody a little bit of a background about what brought you into jiu-jitsu and how you ended up competing in over 100 competitions so soon. Yeah. So let me turn it over to you, bro.
Right. So it's 100 competitive matches, just to be clear with it, like competitions, yeah. But I just started competing like 8 months into the journey. Like we had a coach who was super into the competition and really pushed us for it. And ever since my first competition, I'm like, this is how I'm gonna learn. I'm not gonna get ready, get my A game going and then compete. I'm just gonna throw like spaghetti at the wall and then just improve on the way. And it's been an insane journey. Like 3 years total training jiu-jitsu, and most of it's been competing once or twice a month. And I've had like 4 super fights. And it's honestly like it's helped level up my game by just continually exposing it to competition and just meeting new people, making big mistakes and also getting big wins. And it's just like it's super rewarding. So I'm having a blast with it.
What was your thought process about competing so early? A lot of people, I'm assuming that you maybe didn't have a jiu-jitsu background before you started. Am I correct on that?
Oh, no, I had a little bit. So I did like before formally doing jiu-jitsu, I did some MMA with like Team Quests, and we had and we had jiu-jitsu classes like once a week ish, and I had a little bit of experience with that grappling, and then I was in the military for a little bit, and so like just like bits and pieces of it. But my thought process, like going into competition, like competing so early, is that I just wanted to get as much exposure as possible. Like as a white belt, I was still learning everything, just like literally 8 months in. Like I had one move that I loved doing, and I'm like, I'm just going to throw that at the wall, and then like everything else can kind of maybe fall into place. But I went in with the understanding that I'm going to make a ton of mistakes and I'm going to get my butt whooped, but I'm going to record every single match and take away and absorb like as much as possible. So that was just kind of, that was my mindset. And it's been that way ever since.
Like what do you think is I'm kind of gathering that you and I kind of have the same outlook on this, because I think that I did my first competition maybe within 3 weeks of starting. I've told this story on a previous podcast. I did 3 weeks of training, maybe 2 to 4 classes per week. And I went to my first competition, and, at the time I was 270 pounds. Okay. So I'm 270. I'm in the Masters like 3. I'm 46 at the time, like Masters 3 or whatever. And I go up against a guy who is like 400 and some odd pounds. I am not joking. I will show you the video. It was crazy. And no disrespect to that guy. No disrespect. I have to say every time, no disrespect to that guy. But he was a big guy, right? So I go in and like I have 3 weeks worth of training, and what's crazy is looking back, I go right in, established grips, and I just start spinning him in a circle, right? And once I get him spinning in a circle, I go for an inside leg trip and I secure the mount. And I start spamming the most white belt Americana in the history of white belt Americanas. The elbows like up like this, and like, you know what I mean? I'm just like, ah. And so immediately he turtles. And when he turtles, what was crazy is like all that week leading up to the competition, we had worked, establishing the backpack from the turtle, right?
Yeah.
So he turtles, and I'm just like,
done.
Bro, I put my backpack in, and all I hear from my coach is, "You're too high. You're too high. You're too high." And he just goes, and he dumps his head, and I flip right over. And then like a walrus, he just climbs and lays on me. And so everybody's like, "You got to get out. You got to shrimp. You got to frame." So and every push is like just sinking into his body, right?
Yeah.
And he's sweating all over me. And I'm just like, I had never in my life experienced any of this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I end up tapping the pressure, within 4 minutes into the 5-minute round, I tapped the pressure, right? And I was so frustrated. But looking back, my lack of experience and my lack of knowledge, the way that I went at that competition was 10 times more aggressive than I've done in the preceding 4 competitions that I've gone to over the last 2 years. I've gone into every competition over the last 2 years since then with like a game plan, a thought process. I've been more timid, more controlled,
and more methodical, right?
Yeah. When I look back at that first competition, I go, there's something beautiful about being like ignorant of what you don't know, almost to a degree. Did you experience that when you first started?
Absolutely. No. So I love that you mentioned that, because like I recently did a judo competition in December with 30 days of judo training. And it's like, and then looking back at the videos, it's like, it's crazy the amount of aggression that I was like ensuing, right? No strategy, just raw emotion and just like, like trying to physically win the battle, right? And it's crazy looking back at it. It's like you said, it's like, it's interesting to see because it's way different than how I compete now, of course, but it's a similar pattern, right? And it's funny, like, because in the moment, you don't know that you're doing that. Like, you think you're doing jujitsu, right? But then you reflect and you're like, like there's a whole lot of nothing with that grip that I held on to for 5 minutes, right? And I think that's probably what upper belts look, when they view us, like rolling around, you know what I mean? Like, we think we're in our own action movie, doing everything right, but we're just stiff arming each other for 10 minutes or whatever. Like, it's similar experience, man. Like, absolutely.
Aside from the trial by fire and kind of, inoculating yourself to jiu-jitsu via like all of that stress that comes from competition, what do you think has been the most beneficial point of competing so much?
I think exposure. Honestly, like, exposure really, I think, is the best benefit of it, because really you're going to meet so many different people, and like they're going to dish out problems to you with their jiu-jitsu that maybe you have the solution for, but you could run into plenty of people where it's like, I have no idea how to solve what they're giving me. And they find huge holes in your game that you didn't even know you had. Or you can have like your go-to move, your A game, you get everything you want, and then they somehow do something to get out of it, and that wasn't even on your radar. So it's like, I think that exposure is the best benefit you get out of competition. And I think that's why like people get naturally a lot quicker if they compete lots, because they're getting all that exposure, right? It's not just the same dude you've been rolling around with for a year or two, right? Who, you both know what you guys are going to do to each other. It's like, no, a complete stranger. And he just either takes apart your game or, hey, your game works. Like, so it's that exposure, my favorite part.
I think a lot of people who maybe are like starting a little bit later, they don't recognize is that, everybody in the room, and when we say the room, like your gym, you guys are all coming up together. The people that you're rolling with on a daily basis and training. And then if you go to your own open mats, you all kind of know each other. You're like, yeah, this guy likes to pull guard. This guy, he's a former wrestler. When you go to these competitions, you don't know that guy. So even even if he's on day one, like you don't know. So like your approach to engaging is a little bit different. I think that's such a great component of learning that is kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of an auxiliary aspect of your learning process.
Yeah.
Were your coaches supportive of that? Did they think that maybe you needed to kind of slow it down? Like, what's been their thought process on it?
So I've changed coaches and gyms recently, so that has really changed. In the beginning, like when I first started, very supportive. My first like competitive coach was like there at all my competitions. He gave me feedback. He was great to have on the side because he's telling me the times, like what I should be doing. Very great. And then once he stopped going to our gym, our main coach wasn't there as much. I was competing a lot, but I was more. I mean, most of the time before changing gyms, it was just me. I didn't really have somebody to sit there on the sideline. Sometimes, like someone from another gym that I know would come sit for me and then help me with it. But for a long time, I never had a coach to be there as much, and they thought that like it's great that I was competing, but I didn't get a lot of feedback in the past with me competing. Like it was kind of like I show up after a competition and then like sometimes my coach wouldn't mention it, or it was very background. But my new gym, like it's like we just had a competition, the World Series, with this big check here. It was at our gym, and my coach is there. Like my new coach was there, and he's super supportive. And it's even like after the competitions, we go over like things that I could have worked on, or how it went. So now lately, it's very supportive.
I think that people misunderstand the importance of your own path and your own journey within jiu-jitsu. And I really like the fact that you kind of just took the approach like, hey, I'm going to go to these competitions. I sometimes feel like I don't want to put my coaches, this is going to sound weird. Like I don't want to put my coaches out, number one. And then number two, sometimes I feel more comfortable competing without them there because
the pressure and then
I've gone to 2 competitions, I think, without my coaches because like I just need to feel that environment and I need to kind of just like work some stuff out on my own. And sometimes like, for me, I have horrible anxiety in life generally, right? And I have a lot of like issues with self-confidence and depression. And so sometimes having that coach that's there and watching and knowing that I'm probably doing something they've told me not to do 700 times. That can be a little bit daunting too. So,
I get that.
I think that a lot of times people forget that like each one of us, we're training at a gym, we're training as a part of a team, but we all have our own individual path. And I think it's really important for us to take advantage of all of the opportunities to build upon our own jiu-jitsu journey, so that's really cool that you did that. Speaking of nerves and anxiety, how do you process the nerves and anxiety when you're at these competitions? That's always been a big problem for me.
Dude, it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away, man. Again, over 100 competitive matches that I've done, you would think that it's somehow like gone or whatever, but it's there to stay. Like I have a terrible anxiety when I go to compete every single time. Like for me, I get like, I want to throw up that whole day. I can't eat because like, I just want to hurry up and get there and hurry up and get it over with. And so my anxiety is like always through the roof. So the way like everyone's different too, right? So you got to find something that works for you. But for me, there's like a couple things that I do when I show up at these competitions. Like one of them is that I kind of have like an affirmation, if you would say. Like it helps kind of calm my nerves where I'm like, hey, I kind of repeat this to myself of like, hey, I'm here to have fun. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to show up. I'm going to do my best. Either they're going to give me problems that I can solve or I can't solve, but I'm not going to be able to outthink that problem right now. Right. Yeah. And so that kind of helps put it a little bit in perspective, right? When it's just like, I'm going to show up and just do what I've been doing this whole time. Right. And now that like, even though I'm still having these issues, I can tell myself, hey, I've done over 100 competitive matches. It's the same thing. Like, and it's not even, there's much worse situations that people have with competition level. Like, somebody has to prepare for worlds. Yeah. They have to pay all the money to fly out there, have all their family go out there and lose the first match and go home. Like, somebody has to be that person. And it's okay if it's you or me, or like, it's going to happen. It's just like, I kind of like, I'm accustomed to the idea that of losing and making mistakes, because that's all I do. It's just make mistakes. Like, it's like, it's never going to stop. And it's interesting because like different levels of competition, I've had different feelings with. Like local competitions, I still get nervous. It's all still there. But there's some element of like, you know, I know everybody around here. Like, I'm a little bit comfortable. Super fights, it's like, everyone's looking at me, and you got sometimes an intro song walking out, and there's cameras and everything, and I'm like, yeesh, like all eyes on me. I got a whole lot of people here to disappoint. Like, you know, like it's just knowing that it's here to stay, and that you know, as soon as we touch hands and we get going, that's where I'm home. It's like, okay, cool. That's where my nerves stop. As soon as my opponent grabs me or I get my opponent, that's when I'm in mindset mode of competing, and it's not as bad. But dude, that's here to stay. That those nerves are they're there forever, man.
Well, I mean, honestly, that is somewhat comforting because, you know, for someone who's, I mean, I've probably had 8 competitive matches at this point. From someone who has done over 100, that's great to hear, because I think that for me, even though objectively I know that I'm not unique and everything that I'm dealing with or feeling or going through or experiencing is no different than anyone else, subjectively, I often feel that way. And it's easy for me, and I think that, you know, more than likely other people, it's easy for me to be like, oh man, like I'm taking this so seriously and I'm putting way too much into it than I should. It's just a competition. It's just an open mat, like just have fun. But that's easier said than done when you're looking at someone potentially, you know, strangling you unconscious or and it's rare that ever happens, but it's still that fight or flight, I think, still is an issue for me.
Yeah, and the other guy, another thing to like think about too is the other guy is probably feeling the same way.
It doesn't seem like it though. It doesn't ever seem like that when you're looking across the mat at the other guy. I've never looked across the mat at the other guy and been like, he looks a little nervous. They always look like, you know what I mean?
So, yeah, there's like the best poker face ever, right? Poker
face, bro.
Dude, I'm like, I wear my emotions on my sleeve, man. I'm like if you look at my body language in all my competitions, I'm like, oh fuck, like, or shoot, like here we go, like, oh man, I'm tired already, like.
How do you deal? You've kind of answered this question, but I do want to ask you directly. How do you deal with the defeat? That there's a video that you have. I'm not going to play the videos right now because we've been having some audio issues, but I will put them on the actual stream. How do you deal with defeat? There's an amazing video that I saw on your Instagram where each match you're showing like loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. And I loved that video. That's what made me reach out to you, because I was like, this is what I need to see. Like, it's not the end of the world. And I know that, like, you know, we all have jobs, we all have families, we have responsibilities, and jiu-jitsu is a big part of our life, but it's not all of our life. I really wanted to commend you, number one, for sharing your highlight reel of your losses on Instagram, whether you're a white belt or a coral belt, everybody is showing their absolute best shit. Yeah. And I thought it was so dope for you to be like, bro, I lose all the time. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciated that. I reposted it. I reached out to you to have this conversation. But have you always had a good outlook in terms of wins and losses, or did you get to a point where you had to kind of understand that that's a part of the process?
I honestly, I had a pretty good mindset going in with it. Like I had certain like videos I make where it's like a love project where it's like, maybe this doesn't get a lot of views, but like I love making it, especially my highlights where I get highlighted on or I lose. I like to show that too, because it's just like you said, like everyone just posts like their best stuff, but it's like, dude, like I'm not immune to making mistakes, but I feel like I've had a good mindset going in for competition and losing, because it's like I've kind of mentioned it before, but it's like, dude, I lose every day. Like when I show up at my gym and I get my butt kicked by everybody, like I lose all the time. Like I almost like I've always embraced it because it's like I'm not afraid of failing because I fail every day when I do jujitsu and I'm against somebody who's better at me. So there's no point in me trying to hide it on my Instagram. Honestly, I make plenty of videos where I'm the joke because I did something, but it's just always something that I've embraced and I've never had a problem with doing. Like, sure, there's matches where I kick myself for making like mistakes that I know I shouldn't have made, where it's like, dude, I know this, I shouldn't have done that. But, situation, I made that mistake anyway. And I don't I don't let that become like the nucleus of like what I'm thinking about when it comes to like my training jujitsu. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna remember that because I'm like I feel bad about it, but I'm gonna fix it, and it's a chance for me to again, my game's getting exposed, and now I'll know next time, hopefully, maybe the third or fourth time, that this is what I should do as an answer instead of what I did before. So it's been I'm not afraid of it, man. Like it's just again, everybody loses. Like even the ones way up, like you think of like high level 80cc matches. It was Gordon Ryan versus I forgot who it was, but he ended up getting like a heel hook within like 10 seconds or something. Like nobody's immune to losing, let alone like the casual level here where it's like we're just competing for a $5 medal. Like I don't care. Like it's honestly fun. Like I find it funny just because it's funny. I know I can make a funny edit out of it because it's just like, I don't know. We're just having fun. So I got lucky though. Like my, during white belt, believe it or not, I was undefeated at white belt. I didn't lose a single competitive match at white belt. And then that video, me getting dropped on my head, that's my first blue belt competition. And that's my first ones I've ever lost. Huh?
That was your first blue belt comp, the viral video?
First blue belt comp, getting bombed on my head after being like undefeated, right? And
so I had no idea. I saw that video a while back, and I've seen it on like big channels. I think Josh Saunders reviewed it. Some other people have reviewed it. What happened in that situation?
Yeah, so basically, that day was interesting because I competed in gi earlier that day because I always do gi and no gi. Okay. And so during gi, I got choked out for like 15 seconds. I was buzzed out, like 15 seconds out, woke up, kept competing. And then when that match came around, triangle was like my go-to. It was like my 90% submissions that I've gotten at that time was just triangle. So I shoot up the triangle. I'm like last match of the day. It was probably like my 7th match, I think. I am tired. I am so tired and out of it. The guy stands up and I'm trying to I was thinking about an armbar at that time. And it wasn't even on my radar that I'm on my head and the dude's going to step over and just boom, just drop me. So it wasn't it happened really, really fast. And yes, it was like looking at the video, it's like, dude, I should have let go of that triangle forever ago. Right. Or just drop to the legs or whatever. But I was so out of it from being choked out that day. I didn't get to eat as much and I was super tired that I wasn't thinking very straight. And so that's what kind of led up to that moment where he put his leg over and all that weight. I don't know if you ever had your neck caved in before, but basically
I hope to never have my neck caved in. No.
The loudest neck crack you have ever had, just right next to it was so loud. And I I was so tired that my body just went limp because I just didn't have the energy to do anything else. And when my neck basically went to my shoulder and that loud crack happened, I just went limp. And then I was like, what the heck happened? I tried not to move because I didn't know what was going on. And I sat up and everyone's like, whoa, like, hey, like pause, everybody, time, like you hear in the video. And they just stopped the match. And my neck was just incredibly, like, of course, pain, right? And I was dumb enough to, like, I was in fight or flight mode where I'm like, I'm not done. Like, let's go. Like, I'm ready to continue the match. And the referee's like, no, like, stop.
Like, no.
Wait, hang on. And then his name's Kevin. He runs his own gym called Black Rose. And basically he talked me out of like going again. Like, he's like, dude, like, it's just a local comp. You took a big hit. Just like, I don't think you should be going. And so I sat there and I was like, you know what? I don't think I could take another one of those. Like, I'm done. I conceded the match, and then they ended up standing us up later, and raising his hand, and then I went to go lay on a bench for like an hour with ice pack on my neck.
Did you go to the hospital?
I did. Eventually, yeah. So I laid there for like an hour on the bench outside because I just couldn't do anything else. And eventually, when I had like the strength to like sit up and like move, I drove myself to the VA hospital, and I had to drive with my neck. Like, it was like swelling. Like, I couldn't turn. I was doing like Batman, like I just couldn't make that turn. And then I get checked out at the ER, and there was nothing broken, no crazy like ligament injury at all. My neck I was out for like probably a week and a half, and I was back to training. But like, believe it or not, it was more like dumb luck, and I'm pretty diligent about flexibility training that maybe saved me from being a cripple.
Brutal video, bro. Brutal.
I know, insane. I posted so many versions of it, and then Tomer, he's a big jiu-jitsu guy who just reposted it. Like, I think like it was yesterday or the day before. But yeah, it's making its rounds, and people recognize me from it.
That kind of leads me to my next question. We talk about in jiu-jitsu finding your game, and that around blue belt people start to kind of play around with different things that will one day become their game at purple, brown, and black, right? Yeah. But in 2026, there's also the idea around your social media persona, your social media presence, and you have the Clown Jujitsu. What's the story behind the name Clown Jujitsu?
Yeah, so I've always been called kind of a clown before even doing jiu-jitsu, and there's even like, do you play games at all? Like video games, like PC? Do you play League of Legends at all?
No, but I know all about League of Legends. I have a friend.
Oh, okay. Do you know the characters? Like,
basically
a little bit. Yeah, there's basically like on top of like me, just people calling me a clown in general, but like I would play a clown in that game, and I would just one trick that clown the entire. And so like people like my online would call me clown too. So it's always been a thing. And so I just kind of just leaned into it. And then I also like with jiu-jitsu in general, like my style, I just like a lot of goofy stuff. So it dips into a lot of like 10th planet type of moves sometimes, like, and me workshopping just weird positions and utilizing my flexibility. But that's kind of where it kind of came around, and that's me, the Clown Jujitsu.
I think it's interesting because like everybody that I know from the social media side of jiu-jitsu, it's interesting how like there's a persona and a character around what they're presenting. I'm not sure if you follow Big Xavier from Seattle. He just
no, I do. He's got that lat drop that I will one day get.
He's got the lat drop, right? But like when you follow him on socials, like there's something about his persona. He's the big guy that does the lat drop and has a very like bully style of jiu-jitsu. And then you're doing the clown, playful, gaming type style of jiu-jitsu. even
The
with
God
me,
block.
the whole thing is white belt goons. Like I've leaned into the fact that I'm a white belt and that I'm new to this, but I'm driving it home that I'm really about this shit. So I think it's interesting how people are incorporating their own style into this sport, and hopefully that helps people feel more connected and more grounded, and gives them a little bit more, feeling of belonging in the sport. I wanted to ask you, what is your advice for older grapplers who are starting? I know that you're not, as old as I am.
I'm 34. That's where I'm at.
I don't even remember 34, bro. But you're not a complete youngster. So you've been in the sport long enough. You said you're, at that 3-year mark, a little bit past that 3-year mark. You've seen enough guys come and go. You've been to enough gyms. You've competed, over 100 matches. What are 3 things that you would tell me, a newer grappler starting a little bit older? What would be 3 things that you would tell me to help me develop and continue on this path?
So I would say, like, number 1, I would say working on defense. I think defense is incredibly important when starting with jiu-jitsu, because you got to know where the threat is to even begin to, like, start your own game. And then also, I would say 2 would be get into flexibility. Like, no matter where you're starting from, stretch and really get into that, trying to get more flexibility, because honestly, that's going to help prevent a lot of injuries, and like it's going to help you with jiu-jitsu. And then 3, I would say that once you've been training for a little bit, like a couple months, 6 months or whatever, and you start to have, like, maybe a shaping of a game, I would focus on how to draw people and pull them into your game versus trying to keep up with their game. And that's a lot of, like, just jiu-jitsu in general. But I think that when you're older, you're going to go against people that are just more athletic, and they're going to be running all around you, and you can try to keep up with them, but it's just, you're going to injure or not be able to keep up with them by doing that. But instead, you can figure out how to slow them down and then just pull them and force them to play your game. So I'd say that's like my top 3. Favorite is the flexibility, man. Like, there's just so many crazy things that my neck injury, like, that flexibility can really kind of get you out of, right? And also, it's not the end all be all, but it will certainly help not being as stiff when you're making these types of, like, movements and you're still new to these positions. So that's what I would think.
That sounds good. That's all great information. Survive and defend. Build your body to be more flexible so that you can withstand the crazy things that are going to potentially happen, like falling on your neck. And funneling people into your path as opposed to trying to keep up with them and theirs. I think that's all really good information. Where can people find you? Shout out your social medias, your Instagram, your YouTube, anything else you want to share.
Yeah, you type in Clown Jujitsu and you'll see me. I'm in the Portland metro area. I train at Black Dog in Lake Oswego. Black Dog's got a really, really sweet open mat on Sundays at 11. So if you just Google Black Dog Jiu-Jitsu, Lake Oswego, everybody comes there. And it's a great environment to be in. Even if you don't, like, plan on joining, like, it's great to get involved. So that's where I'm at.
Well, we hope that people will follow you on social media. Your Instagram is crazy, bro. I really appreciate everything that you're doing, the videos that you're putting out. I'm glad that you were not seriously injured in that crazy video.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and talk to the people on my channel. We're small, we're fledgling, and we're growing. And it's really a pleasure to be able to get to know you and talk to you a little bit. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Anytime you want to do another one, let me know.
Ladies and gentlemen, Giovanni from Black Dog, the blue belt competition slayer. I appreciate you being a part of the White Belt Goons Jujitsu Bros Podcast. As always, guys, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And come on over here and help your boy get a few more followers. Y'all be great.